discuss it a little bit. Just in a nutshell, break it down for us a little bit, Jibrin. What did we see on the 19th of October?
I think we did a preview on my show. Yes, if you've seen my show, the African Fighters Podcast, every Sunday, catch us live. That's a cheeky plug. Um, well, a lot of people were using this phrase, "The king is back." 3 words, "The king is back," and I'm just going to say, there's this guy called True Georgie on Instagram, on YouTube here.
Mhm.
He's very popular amongst the combat sports fans. He stole my thumbnail and he stole my title. I posted about it, but it's okay. I'm inspiring through Georgie, but it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, Francis Ngannou, the king is back, as you know. Where can you start with Francis? Francis is one of those guys that you cannot hate, right? He has come from nothing literally to something. When people say come from nothing, come from the gutter, dude did not even come from the gutter. He came from the sand pits in Cameroon. He came all the way. His story, unending story, is ongoing. We thought we've seen the end of the story when he got knocked out by Anthony Joshua, but surprise, that guy is one of the most stubborn, self-believing human being you'd ever meet. He doesn't take no for an answer, and you can tell from when he left the UFC as a champion, he left a lot of money on the table. Not just before he got released, just a couple of fights before he got released. He won the title on peanuts. He was paid peanuts to win the title because he refused to do a contract negotiation to have a extended contract to get better pay. He chose to
Mhm.
continue collecting money as a contender. Even as a champion, he defended his title just to see out his contract, and then he left the UFC as a champion. We know Dana White, the owner of UFC, is very salty about this. As we speak right now, before we hopped on here, there was a press conference in Abu Dhabi. Dana could not stop being petty about Francis Ngannou. He constantly bashed him. Long story short, Francis Ngannou got knocked out against Anthony Joshua in his voyage in boxing. And
Mhm.
something worse than that happened afterwards, which is he lost his son.
Mhm.
And that is very, very shattering for any human being. But Francis Ngannou is not normal. He decided to come back into fighting to take on his scariest opponent yet. A lot of people would say that Renan Ferreira, who Francis Ngannou fought, is not tested. But no. That guy is as scary as a striker that you would see. He is standing 6'8", over 300 pounds, soaking wet muscle, a bundle of athleticism. A 6'8" man with that wingspan could do a backflip and a leg split, and he could dance his ass off. As a 6'8", that says a lot. If he
Wow.
was American, he would likely be in the NBA because that guy will be throwing dunks and alley oops very easily. Now, translating that same skill set and that same physical gift by God or by his doing in training, I don't know. Translating
Mhm.
that into fights, he is one of the most devastating heavyweight striker you would ever see with the advantage of the reach that he has. We've seen time upon time or how he knocks out his opponents. His aura alone and the blitz he make in a fight is enough to scare opponents for them to even submit. So
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
came and he met the ultimate Francis Ngannou. This is a case of a moving train hitting an immovable object. It was that type of impact that you don't know what is going to happen. This object that cannot be moved, if this high speed moving
Hmm.
train hits it, what is going to happen? That was what we were looking out for this past weekend when Francis Ngannou went head to head with him. One thing we knew for sure going into that fight is the fact that that fight would not end in
And
decision. We
yeah.
know that
Yeah.
fight, somebody is going to
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah.
We
We all
were
called it. Mhm.
we were
Mhm.
very scared that Francis Ngannou was the guy that was going to sleep because of a lot of factors. That could be ring rust, or cage rust in this case, of someone that has not fought in MMA for a while. The last time we saw him was when he defended his UFC title against Rogan almost 3 years ago, and now he's back kicking and submitting. Anyways, the fight came out, did not last more than one round, only 3 minutes in. I'm going to say that Francis Ngannou had the most influential man in his corner in that of Cristiano Ronaldo. You might know him. He's the
Ronaldo. Yeah.
most followed human being on earth. They were backstage together. Cristiano Ronaldo was cage side cheering Francis Ngannou. I'm sure you've seen the clips that PFL posted where Ronaldo was celebrating like Ngannou scored a
Yeah.
goal in
Yeah.
football.
We have
But
seen it all.
you could tell from Ronaldo's face the genuine happiness he felt for Ngannou. At this point, I actually agree that these guys are friends now. Initially, I did not even believe their friendship. I just thought Ronaldo was helping him out. But now I can see the mutual respect. It's very
Yeah.
deep.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I can tell you this. I'm certain that when Ngannou lost his kid or when he lost to Anthony Joshua, Ronaldo was there to call him or to reach out to console him and all of that. I feel like that's the level of friendship they have. And for someone like that, I'm sorry to say, Dana White, you don't have any star that has the attention of Ronaldo. Dana White,
Ronaldo.
you would
Yeah.
kill for
True.
you would kill for anybody in your
True.
promotion to be best friends with Ronaldo, but you don't. Yeah, so I was building up to the fight. Ronaldo in Francis Ngannou's corner. Francis Ngannou came out and decided to show his Dagestani grappling. He did wrestle, took down a sweet, well-timed takedown, shot for a double leg after he baited Renan Ferreira to throw an overhand. He shot beautiful takedowns, something that you see from the best grapplers. That's what Ngannou did.
Yeah.
We've never seen
Yeah.
that from him. When Ngannou took down Cyril Gane, that's the only time we saw him wrestle. When he wrestled Cyril Gane, you could see that the wrestling that Ngannou did there against Cyril Gane was not about technique, but
Was on.
about survival. But now
True.
against Renan, you could
True.
see that that's what
Yeah.
he intended to do. He shot for the double leg, he got the takedown, and
And he executed.
adversity was
Yeah.
there when Renan tried to pull the triangle choke, but he couldn't do that. Francis Ngannou ended up knocking him out, and a beautiful performance, and then an emotional post performance where we saw Francis Ngannou, a big, gentle giant, tearing up in the middle of the cage with a tattoo of his son Kobe on his arm. It is one of those things that it's a moment. There are so many moments in sports, and that's a definition of a moment. It's one of those things of many years from now. Where were you when Francis Ngannou made his comeback in MMA? Where were you when Francis Ngannou came and fought for his son? Where were you when this? It's those sort of things that you would remember where you were at when you saw that. You will remember the taste of the air or the smell of the atmosphere. Those sort of moments. That was what we saw. It was a beautiful thing to see, and I'm just going to end this as I started this with 3 words: the king is back.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, that was a full commentary. Thanks for that. I bet the fight didn't last as long as you have summarized it. But King Dems, tell us what happened on Saturday. And with that win now, and with, I mean, you can see Dana White in the press conference last Saturday. With this win now of Ghana in another promotion, is he the heavyweight GOAT of MMA?
So arguably, Ngannou is arguably the greatest heavyweight in MMA of all time, because Stipe is the consensus greatest heavyweight of all time because he has the um, highest number of heavyweight championship wins, yeah, in the UFC. And of course, Francis is the man who beat the man, right? So Francis got the title from Stipe, even though they are 1-1, right? So Stipe did beat an inexperienced Francis, but Francis closed out that rivalry, in my opinion, with a
Yeah.
crazy knockout. So that being said, there is a strong argument to say Francis is the greatest MMA heavyweight of all time. Yes, and of course, we saw history in the making last Saturday, and really, really very happy for him. You cannot but help if you're humane and you are a neutral. You don't have any skin in the game. You cannot help but love and appreciate and respect Francis. Yes, that's just
Yeah,
my
I,
take.
I agree. I agree with you 100%, Deb. And with that, we're gonna welcome Courageous Empire, bro. We can't see your face, but just quickly, is Francis the heavyweight GOAT?
For sure, for sure.
Okay, very good, very good. That's just what I
100%
wanted.
on your end.
So yeah, I mean, we're going to move on. So we're here to talk about UFC 308, right? I mean, this is a very interesting card, and as we all know, the UFC and Abu Dhabi, they've had this romance for a while now. And honestly, some of the fights in that happened in that Abu Dhabi has been some of the most interesting events. Ever since I started watching UFC and I started going there. Some of the best events have actually happened in this very 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 interesting venue. I'm just looking to bring up the card here, but just quickly, Jibrin. I mean, Ilia Topuria. You remember when he was having that run-in with Paddy the Baddy, right? And at that point, they were both new in the UFC, and at that point, a lot of people were thinking, okay, these guys are two guys that are new, up and coming, that may go on to be champions. But however, at this point, the gap is like from here
It's
to
wide.
I don't know, is as wide as anything. Just tell us a little bit about that. What are your thoughts on this dude, Ilia Tupuria?
Yeah, funny that you brought up this thing with Paddy the Baddy. I don't think he was necessarily a newbie when he started. He was in the UFC before Paddy came. But even at that time, when he was trying to get the attention of Paddy, it was one of those things of like, he knows he's going to smoke Paddy. Because everybody knows that Paddy
Yeah,
turned out to be, I don't want to be harsh
hype,
and say
a hype machine.
a disappointment, but the hype does not match the talents of some of
Yeah,
sorts. So even at that time, I was like, hey, Paddy, don't even make that mistake of fighting this guy. And Paddy is a smart guy. He's he's in bed with the UFC matchmakers, and they've been cherry picking his opponents for him, which I don't blame him. Try to make most money as long as you can. This fight game is brutal. You cannot last very long. And Paddy, of course, he took the route of taking it easy. The UFC are kind of like trying to give him that Sean O'Malley treatment of giving him like easy opponents. Anyways, coming back to Ilia Topuria, he has always been a boogeyman of some sort, right? He had, before he got to fight for the title, he had to become undeniable, because for the longest time, a lot of featherweights were kind of like avoiding him.
yeah,
I think Topuria, when he fought Alexandra Volkanovski, Volk at that point was almost invisible. Right? I understand when he took the title of Volk lost a fight by brutal knockout to Islam Makhachev. But regardless, even if Volk did not lose that fight, I still felt that Ilya is a dangerous fight for him.
yeah,
Again,
yeah.
I
It
feel
was
I
always a
feel Ilya,
dangerous fight.
I feel Ilya is also one of those guys that could. He's Georgian, but he's from Spain. He's based in Spain, right? I feel like he's one of those guys with his talent and his hype, being also a very, very smart guy that I noticed. With him jumping on that Real Madrid hype, he is on his way to become one of the top stars in the UFC. Right now, we are in an era of very, very boring champions in the UFC. The UFC, a lot of people have said, I think unanimously said that the UFC have peaked in popularity, most especially because they don't have stars anymore. When I say stars, I mean they don't have stars on top. So like a Conor McGregor, he's not on top. He's a star, but he's not on top. Israel Adesanya is a star, but he's not on top.
On top,
So
yeah,
the only
yeah.
person that is a star does not speak English. The only thing he says is Chama. That is Alex
Alex
Pereira.
Pereira,
So
yeah.
there is room for somebody else to get in there, right? We've got a Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is a British man. We know British people love their guys, but he's a cool kind of like Frank Lampard-esque type of British guy that is noble. He got a bit of a David Beckham aura going for him, so that does not become
Mhm.
popular. For you to become popular, you have to have a little bit of psycho inside you, and I feel like Ilia, with the little English he speaks, he has a little bit of that going on for him. So
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
if Ilia now comes out and knocks out Max, who is a darling of the whole of the UFC, Max blessed Holloway, everybody loves Max. If Ilia knocks out Max in a spectacular fashion, I feel like he's going to be literally next to Pereira in popularity in the UFC. I don't want to. I'm
Mm.
not throwing shade to Dricus Duplessis, but I don't think. I think Duplessis needs one
I
more
don't think
performance to get
Duplessis
to
is
that
on that
level.
level. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, and another thing with regards to Ilya, I heard Dana White recently speaking about going to Spain. He said they
Yeah,
might do Madrid or Barcelona,
he
but we
said
know
he
Dana
said
White
it during
is
the
full.
press conference today.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know
He
Dana
said
White
it.
is
Yeah.
full of it. He's full of it. He talks a lot of things that we know. We know how it is. But
Yeah.
one
Winner.
thing, a lot of people don't know, one thing that made Conor McGregor was the local support he had from back home. When Conor McGregor was fighting in the UFC, when he was in the prelims, half of that crowd was Irish. Then the UFC noticed, this guy, he good like this. They can't carry and go Ireland main fight. That's the same pattern. I'm dragging this, but that's the same. I'm going to land this point, and that's it. That's the same pattern they tried to build up. This guy, this Liverpool guy that was in the middleweight division. Um, this guy from Liverpool now, that was a welterweight that moved to middleweight.
Guarantee.
Uh,
No,
Darren
I
Till.
his
did.
name,
Uh,
yeah, Darren Till, yeah.
yeah.
That was what they tried to do. They went to England, they sang Sweet Carolina, but he got knocked out by Masvidal. So, so that was what they intended to do. They wanted to use the Conor McGregor blueprint to push another European star. I
Yeah.
feel like this is going to work if they use that same blueprint for
Mm.
Ilya. They go to Santiago Bernabeu, that is the Real Madrid stadium. They don't have to sell out the whole stadium because the stadium is built in a way that you can divide it into two. Something will come from up like this, you will divide it into two, they will have seats there, and it will turn into like a 40k capacity stadium arena.
I don't
And
know.
if they do that for Ilya and they see how much reception he gets from his people, that will resonate with the casual UFC fans in America, and they will burn a
Yes.
new star.
Mm.
So I feel Ilya, the sky is the limit. I feel he is talented enough to be that guy in the UFC, and if he knocks out Max Holloway in, I'm not saying unanimous decision, no. I'm not saying a freak accident, oh. I'm saying if he knocks out Holloway as brutal as he knocked out Volk, then I think the UFC have something in their hands. That's how highly I rate him.
Right. Very good. I mean, in my opinion, I think he's a star already because he was received that in Real Madrid. Not many times that I've seen that where someone is received. I think it was I don't know if it was a La Liga match or something, and the whole stadium. I think he's a star. He's a superstar already. And anyone that watches football that understands how big Real Madrid is would know what
Yeah.
that means and what that signifies. So, King Dem, tell us what this guy, just briefly, what this Ilia Topuria, what is his ceiling? How big of a star can he get? Can he become in the UFC?
Okay, so interestingly, he is a superstar already, right? However, speaking of ceilings, I think his ceiling is coming come Saturday because Max Blessed Holloway gets the job done. So it's gonna be back to the drawing board for
Yeah.
Ilia Topuria. I am calling it right here. And of course, I put my money where my mouth is. My money is on Max Holloway.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Max Holloway is breaking that ceiling.
Yeah,
Bless his
Interesting.
friend.
he
Well,
is installing that ceiling on Saturday. You see, experience, is the best teacher, so
mm,
they say, and we're gonna see it on
But what does
Saturday.
that say? What does that say about the featherweight division? Because like Max has lost
it could
3 times
change it.
to the former champion. Are we going to have a fourth fight again? It's going to be a disaster for the UFC if Max
We
wins.
will
Oh.
see. We will
The
see that.
UFC would
We
the
will see that
UFC
fourth
would
fight, and
rather
Max is going to win that fourth fight.
you
Yeah.
are Demola, you are a factual and a businessman, right? if you were Dana White or if you are the UFC, would you want Max to win?
Definitely, business wise, you don't want Max to win. However, the thing is, as much as it is a business, it's also a sport, right? So there are certain, elite level athletes who will always, be showstoppers, be spoilers, right? And of course, that is why you cannot predict, the twists and turns of this action movie. It's an action movie for a reason. So let's just wait and see. It's a series. It's not just, a short film. Let's wait and see. So the UFC has been able to prove over time that they can adapt, right, to any sort of situation that the sport throws at them, and that is the hallmark of a good business. Adaptability and sustainability, right? And that is they'll find an answer to these trend that will occur.
Hmm.
Don't worry, you can only wait and
Okay.
see.
Courageous. You said there that Holloway is going to come back and win the title. But what kind of fights are we going to see on Saturday? Like, how will this fight end? Is it going to be a knockout or is it going to be a decision? I know you're very good with analyzing fights.
Yeah, with my own view of the fight, I don't think Ilia is going to strike much with Max. I see him bringing up his grappling. I see him showing his grappling in this fight because I think many people don't. They think Ilia is just a striker. They don't know he's more of a grappler than a striker. He has good grappling more than he's striking. More than he's striking. So I think he's going to
Hmm.
bring that going to grapple a lot, a lot. But I think he's going to gas out. I think Mars is going to take his time, like he's going to drown him because Mars is like he's a championship caliber fighter, like gassing
Elite
it up.
level
There's no
championship
fight that Elia
fighter,
will
bro.
present that
And
Mars
he's got
cannot
gas tank.
absorb. And
Yeah,
another
he's
thing,
got
he's
cardio
going to
for
be
days.
surprised that the way Mars will be able to take his shot because he is so
Hmm.
confident about his power. He
Hmm.
feels like nobody can handle it. I don't know if you understand.
Max is an
Yeah,
island boy.
But I
He's
don't
a
think
yeah,
Yeah,
Mali
I
yeah.
well,
boy.
don't
Max has that thing going on for him, the invisibility of
Yeah,
never
I
being
think I
knocked down
think
before,
Mars is
right?
going to
Yeah.
win
Been knocked
a
down.
very
Yeah.
To be honest,
a very dominant
Co-
decision. I think Ilya is going to pick up maybe the first two rounds, then Mars take from round 3 to 5.
Courageous, not to interrupt you, but to be honest, me, I always disrespected the power of Max's punches, right? I know he had precision. He has
Yes,
precision, but the power, I kind of disrespected it a bit because he never really had that one punch knockout. It was more like
He will wear you
volume,
down.
building
volume,
up, and then
volume.
stinging you
Hmm.
until
Volume.
that's UFC 300 where they do him and Gaethje.
Yeah,
I was like, damn,
Oh,
this guy packs power like this. I didn't
yeah,
know.
can crack, can crack.
Yeah. So, did you hear that thing where Ilia Topuria did say that he's going to come in the first minute? He's going to come into the
yeah, and
middle
he's
of the
going to
cage
point
and
down.
point.
Yeah. First 10 seconds.
It's a
Do you
joke.
think do you think Max will engage if he actually does that?
Max
Mars
is not
already
stupid.
replied earlier. He said he's not going to engage. He said he's not that dumb, and it doesn't make
Max is
sense.
not
The
stupid.
feathers are fresh. Anything can happen. He
Mm-hmm.
has the power to. Nobody's is a fight. Everyone has a puncher's
Well,
chance. It can
all right,
happen.
guys. All right, guys. We don't have so much time. We're gonna get back to the main event. Thanks to everyone watching us live from King Dems Podcast or from Chat with the Tycoon. We've got one comment on here, and that is from Six. And Six says, Ilya in round 3 via knockout. Interesting. Very interesting take there. But let's get on to the. So we're going to talk about the main card, right? And then we will each pick one fight on the prelim to talk about. So the first fight of the night is Tara Magomedov Bullets versus Aman Superman Petrosian. This is an interesting one. I was watching them earlier today. Tara is unbeaten. He comes with a record of 14 wins, 0 losses, and 0 no contests. While Aman Petrosian comes with 9 wins, 3 losses, and 0 no contests. This is an interesting one, guys. Who am I going to start with? King Dems, tell us about this
Uh,
fight. Who are you going to take on this fight, bro?
so I have my picks already. I like to put my money where my mouth is. So my money He's with Petrosian, right? So Shara, no disrespect to Shara, he's undefeated, but then the caliber of opposition that he has faced is not yet on the level of Petrosian, right? So he's just
Mm.
coming of age, now being matched with somebody who is at his level. And Petrosian is, he's experienced, and the money makes sense with Petrosian. So my pick is Petrosian on this one.
All right, all right. I mean, he's coming off a loss against Vieira. I think it's Carlos Vieira or something. But yeah, that's your pick. Mr. Jibrin, who are you picking on this fight? Who do you think is going to win this and how?
Um, to be honest, I have not studied this deep to this card. However, I have learned not to bet against my boy King Dems. So whatever King Dems King Dems says it is. King Dems, who you pick? You pick Magomedov, Abi?
No, no, no.
Big
I'm picking Ahmed
Petrosian.
Petrosian. So my the Shara guy, he's is that one-eyed guy, right? So he's quite good,
Mm.
very good. He doesn't
Ah,
have a very good gas tank, to be honest.
and to be honest,
Get
his
it?
defense is
Yeah,
crap.
yeah. His defense is crap. So like he will get found out with this Petrosian guy. The Petrosian guy is
Yeah,
more experienced
yeah,
and
yeah.
he's at
Because the last
level.
fight
So
I saw of Shara, since he's that one-eyed guy, I don't remember the guy. That Ginger Dagestani.
yeah, yeah. The ginger head guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that guy. It's almost about time before they take his head off. Or you cannot be surviving on a chin that long, for that
Hmm.
long. For that
Hmm.
reason, I think with you convincing me, I'm going with Amen Petrusian for this one.
Okay. Courageous Empire, who are you picking on this one?
I'm picking Shara Magomedov, but I don't think the fight is going to be exciting. First of all, because I
Mm-hmm.
watched the press conference today early in the afternoon, and they
Yeah.
asked Petrosian about his game plan, and he was saying over and over again that he's going to expose Shara, is going to expose him. I'm thinking he's going to wrestle more, like he's going to initiate the grappling right from the start. But I still think that
Mm-hmm.
when they are standing on the feet, I think Shara is going to land the better strikes. So maybe it's going to be a split decision, something like that, or it's going to be close.
Interest. I mean, I like it when we differ, right? I like it when we're not all going in one direction. For me as well, I don't know what these guys are talking about, but I also picked Shara the Bullet Magomedov on this one, and the reason
Yeah,
is simple. I mean, in our last preview, King Dem sitting here was telling us, do not bet against anyone that the name ends with a V. So that
yeah,
is
yeah,
the only
yeah, yeah.
reason why I'm going to go with Shara
But
Magomedov for this
we have
one.
been proven wrong on that one, bro.
Right. Well, I mean, moving on quickly to the next one. This is Leron Murphy, the Miracle, against Dan 50K Ige. I like that name. I
Yeah,
don't know how he got that name, but that's an
exactly.
interesting that's an
Fan
interesting
favorite.
nickname.
Fan
I
favorite.
mean, Leron Murphy is from England. He comes with a record of 14 wins, 0 losses, and 1 no contest. Against Dan Ige's 18 wins, 8 losses, and 0 no contest. I mean, yeah, I mean, let's take a look at the resume here. So Dalige, his last 5 fights has been against Jackson. I think is it Demon Jackson, Kingdom? Is that Demon Jackson?
You
No,
mean
I think Diego
Um,
Lopez. Diego Lopez. He took it on
no,
four
his
hours
last
do you
notice.
mean
fight.
Dan Ige? Do you mean Dan
Mm-hmm,
Ige? Dan
mm-hmm.
Ige was
That's
against
Yes,
Diego Lopez, short notice.
4 hours notice.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the fifth fight he fought. Someone should help me and check. Like, if you check his last 5 fights, yeah, there is a guy that he won here, Jackson. I'm just asking because Demon was
He
supposed
beat
to
Nate.
Yes, yes, yes. I think so.
Uh,
is that Demon Jackson.
It should
Pepper.
be.
Then against the Landwehr, then he lost to Mitchell. I think that's Mitchell the farmer. And then he won against Diego Fili, and then he lost to Lopez. While Leron Murphy last 5 fights, Silva de Andrade, Amekani, Santos, Kulibao, and Edson Barbosa.
Yeah.
I mean, I know my pick on this one, but I want to hear from you guys. I'm going to start with you, Jibrin. What is your thoughts on this fight? Is
Um,
somebody's poll going
I'm
to
go-
be
I'm going
collected in this one?
I'm going to go with the experience. So, uh well, I think this is the biggest test for Murphy so far.
Mm.
For some reason, I don't see a finish here. I see a decision victory for Danige. Uh,
Wow.
always been a fan of the 50K. Um,
Mm.
yeah, so I say Danige unanimous decision. Again,
Okay.
these are not my favorite fights. We have not gotten to my favorite fights, but I'm giving Danige this one.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why we're rolling through this one. So, King Dems, what do you think about this one? How is this one going to end?
I'll say so. Quick one. I am going with Liron Murphy. My money is on him. So I think he's got the better striking, crisp striking, but of course, he's also got good, decent takedown defense. So with that, I think he's got the tools to hang in with Dan Ige. And of course, in the event of a close decision, they will most likely favor the undefeated fighter. So I see this going to the judges' scorecard. Most likely. 29-28 Leon Murphy. Yeah, that's my take.
Okay, great. How about you, Courageous Empire? Who wins this and how?
I think this is going to be a very close fight. Like I think they are both like they fight similarly. Like they have good striking, decent grappling. I think
Yeah.
they are similar in terms of the way they fight. But I'm going with Dan Ige because of experience. I feel he has fought better competition, and also Leron he surprised me in his last fight against SC Barboza. The way he fought SC Barboza, that was the way I thought Sadiq Yusuf is supposed to fight SC Barboza. The way he pressured
Mm.
him, he stand up in the kicking range, he was boxing him up. I think that way, and we also know that Danige is a very good boxer. He has good hands. Like
Yeah.
that guy hand, not be can't sleep on it. So I'm going with I think it's going to be a very close fight. I don't see them shooting any takedown.
Yeah.
I think all the fight is going to be the three rounds is going to be on the
Mainly on the feet.
yeah.
Yeah, mainly. I agree with
Yeah.
you actually. If you look at their striking accuracy, you can see it's very similar. Even their takedown defense. A lot of things with these guys are similar. So this
Yes.
fight might actually be a stand-up banger, or it could either be a banger or go the other way. It's one of those
It's
fights,
too fierce.
and it's interesting where they've placed it on this card as well. So yeah, we'll see how this one goes. But yeah, to do my pick, I go with Little Murphy as well on that one. Now we're coming up to the third fight on the main card here, and you have Magomed Ankalev against Alexander Raki. So the question in here will be a bit different. I mean, obviously we know that Alex Pereira is the champ in this division. But I'm going to ask you, King Dems, yeah, is Ankalev going to be the champion before the end of next year? Is there a possibility that Ankalev will even get a title shot in the first place? Not able to go. Is this guy ever going to get a title shot?
Okay, so unfortunately, like Jibril likes to say, even though I'm the businessman, right? I like the fact that he said I'm also factual. You get it. So based on facts, right? I do not like the fact that we are unfortunately heading into the era of boring grappling heavy champions. However, the likelihood, the probability that Uncle Live is the uncrowned champion is very, very high. So I think in that light heavyweight pool, the guy who poses the toughest challenge for Alex Pereira is actually Ankalaev. And I think he's coming.
Mm,
He's coming for that title. So I
You
think
know
he's gonna get the
something.
title
Yeah.
shot. He's
Something I noticed.
undeniable.
But how do you,
mm.
Demola? How do you see Uncle Live winning this one?
Hmm.
Do you see a
By doing what
finish?
he by doing what he's always done. Like just implement his grappling plan.
So
Yeah, I think
when
he wins this one. My
Ankalaev
money's on him.
fought Blahovic, he
Mm.
he knows that he has this stigma of being Dagestani and he wrestles heavy. So I
Mhm.
think in that fight he decided to strike. When he decided to strike and Blahovic started piecing him apart in the first two
Mm.
rounds, my guy switched to wrestling ASAP.
Definitely.
And
His
that's
legs were chopped
he
off
won.
in that fight. I
He
remember.
clearly won that fight, but the judges decided not to give him the title because obviously, probably they were under instruction. I don't know, but now, building up to this fight, we've been seeing him trash talking Pereira, saying Pereira is avoiding him. Yes, it's not just Pereira that is avoiding him. The UFC and the fans don't want
A lot
that.
of people.
Hmm.
Then number two, he's been talking about striking. I saw a couple of times where he spoke about striking. He's going to entertain Kinikon, Kinikon. So that means that this stigma of grappling is getting to him, and I think he's going to try to strike with Rakic. And to be honest, the way I see it, he's going to try to strike with Rakic, and then he'll feel the striking is not in the same level, and then he'll go back to what he likes doing, which is the wrestling. I think that's the same story that we are going to see. Thank God it's a 3 round fight, so we might like it would finish in 3 rounds. I think that is if he doesn't get a submission or a ground and pound. But I also lean to Ankalaev. I'm with the matchmakers here. Ankalaev that gets it done, and we would not see him and Pereira fight until maybe middle of next year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And what's your take, Courageous Empire? Do you think this guy will be champion in the UFC? I mean, obviously, I think we all agree that he's going to win this fight. But is he going to be champion by next
before I
year?
give, before I say my pick or my prediction, I disagree with the African fighter.
Hmm.
Ankalaev is a better striker than Rakic.
Mm.
You can check it.
Ooh,
Oh,
striker.
I'm not
Okay.
arguing. I'm not arguing.
Yeah,
I dey hear you.
he's a better striker than him. He's the
Mm-hmm,
most well-rounded light heavyweight right now. He can strike, he can
mm-hmm,
wrestle. If you even look at most of
Hmm.
his finish, they are on the feet. He finished most of his fights on the feet. He's a better striker than Rakic, defensively and offensively. So I see this fight, the way I see this fight playing, I see this fight like it's going to be a dominant decision for him. He's going to win all 3 rounds. But
Yeah.
this time around, he's going
But
to implement more of the striking than his grappling. That's my position.
hmm. But then I mean he's boring, right? We agree with that. So is
I don't
that a
think he's
reason
boring.
why he might not
I don't
get
think he's
a
boring.
title shot?
I don't think
You
he's
don't
a
think
boring
so?
fight. No.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess this one is another unanimous one for everyone. I think we all think that he's going to win the fight anyway. So yeah, there's really no point of us wasting a lot of time on that fight. Let's come to you know, some really interesting people now and household names in this in the UFC. So we're coming on to Robert the Ripper Whitaker coming up against Kamzat Boz Chimaev. I kill everybody. I kill you. I kill everybody. I kill everybody. I kill you. I take the belts. Champion. I'm champion. How is this fight going to go down, guys? Um, because I don't know, honestly. Because lately, Robert has been picking up some wins, and he's been showing some new stuff in his game. Who am I going to start with here? I'm going to start with you, Demola. How does this fight go down, and who wins this fight, in your opinion?
Ah, do you want to know who my money's on this fight?
Yeah, go on. Let's have
Okay,
it.
my money's on Roberts, the Reaper Whitaker. It's a dog or pass situation on this one. So Robert is highly disrespected and underrated in this fight, right? So to be honest, from my factual assessment, from a risk assessment point of view, having that in-depth understanding of the sport that I have, I've been watching MMA actively, right? I've been a nerd of the sport since 2018, 2019, thereabout, right? So I have absorbed enough data and information to make a well-informed analysis, right? as uh as a person who's not just a casual of the sport, right, but a person who is an analyst and well educated about the sport, right?
Reporter.
So
Hmm.
given this um analysis I feel like they are more evenly matched than people are making this fight seem, right?
Yeah.
No disrespect to Hamzat, right? Hamzat, he's a prodigy, he's highly talented, but make no mistake, Robert Whittaker is an elite level prize fighter, right? So on this one, I think it's a 50-50 chance, right? Yeah, Hamzat is high level wrestler, right? He's a high level wrestler. Robert Whittaker has, decent wrestling. He has decent takedown defense. He has crisp striking, right? And just feel like Robert Whittaker is just a little bit on a higher level than Hamzat, right? And if he's able to maintain his composure, right, and
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
Hamzat into deep waters, especially if they go into the fourth and fifth round, Robert Whittaker is going to snatch this one from him. So given that, I say
Mm.
it's a 50-50 fight, but I'm leaning towards Robert Whittaker. And of course, I'm betting big on Robert Whittaker on this one. The odds for Robert Whittaker to win is 3 point something. That's big disrespect. So it means if you're taking £1,000, you're winning £3,000. And of course,
Are
what it
you
is.
putting a thousand pounds? Have you put £1,000? Do you believe in Whitaker that
I
much?
I did not put £1,000 on this, but I did sprinkle a little
Oh, you
salt
put
on,
in
on
the
that
same
fight.
money.
Yeah,
The same
I put
money.
I sprinkled something on that one.
Very good. Very good. So,
Um,
Jibrin, tell us now. Tell us how this one go go. How this one go go.
so this one, I feel like
Hmm?
the result of this fight will not favor Kamaru Usman because I
How
feel
does
like
Kamaru come into the equation here?
let me tell you how. I feel like Hamza and his health issues, right? I feel like it has taken a toll on him. Not that I'm making excuses for him, but the same Hamza that we used to see before, I don't think he's still the same person. I think if this fight goes past one round, Hamza is going to look horrible. And I think even Hamza knows that. I think Hamza is going to come with his same Hamza energy in the first round, try to get it done. If he can't, he's just going to look like a vegetable in the second and third round. And Whitaker is going to do business. So when Whitaker is doing business on Hamza, I feel like people will see Hamza as a human, as normal as possible. And then Kamaru Usman bragging about, I came off the couch, 6 days notice, is not going to look good anymore. Because they'll be like, is this the person that you are claiming you came off the couch for? So that's why I think. I think Whitaker is gonna take this either by
Interesting
finishing the third
perspective.
round,
Hmm.
or he will take it unanimously. And we are going to Usman will not have anything to talk again.
Very interesting perspective there. But I agree with the analysis you made. Samzak doesn't look this like the same guy that was tearing in the beginning. And I think, yeah, you're right. I think you're spot on there in terms of that analysis. And also, having the fact also states that his cardio has always been in question. This is
hmm
a guy that Gilbert Burns would have beaten. This is a guy that barely beat Usman, you know, barely.
That fight was a
And
draw. Let's be factual.
actually,
That
yeah,
fight was
I
a
was,
draw.
I was just, I was
Yeah,
gonna
I
say, I
don't.
because
actually thought
I don't
Usman
think.
one
won.
of the
I
judges.
didn't even think
You know,
it was a draw.
so
I thought Usman even won the fight. The
I
two
thought Usman won two
to
of those
one.
rounds.
Because
That's what I
that
thought.
round, he
Apart
didn't
Yeah,
go
from
but
down
the
the
to
first
first one
round.
was
damage
a
as well
ten
to get
eight.
a
The
10-8.
first one was a
He
ten
did.
eight. Let's
No, you
let's
can't
let's
give
tell
that a
you lies.
10-8. There was no damage. He didn't do any damage.
He didn't do any damage,
Bro,
so it can't be a 10-8.
bro,
He
No.
just lay on
bro.
him for the
He
round.
was
So
dominating. Yeah,
you
he
know,
was
Exactly.
dominating him in that round.
well, anyway, I mean, so Courageous Empire, what do you think? It looks like you're agreeing with Jibrin as
No,
well.
no, 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 no.
The
In
analysis.
this fight, I'm a bit confused. I want Robert Whittaker to win as a fan,
Mm.
but I know Hamzat Chimaev is going to take the win. I think Hamzat is going to surprise us. Like even
In the
Whittaker
first round, it has to be the first round, right?
he's going to be shocked. He's going to be shocked
Mm.
about in this fight.
So basically, you're
Robert Whittaker,
saying you will do to him what he has done to people in the past, whereby he just comes, maybe
exactly.
grapples him and finishes him
He's
in the
going to
first round.
he's going to finish Robert Whittaker within 2 rounds. He's finishing Robert Whittaker.
Okay,
I think
that's again.
Robert Whittaker
That's
is
again
so
different
focused.
from.
He's so focused on not getting finished in the earlier rounds that is thinking of winning the fight. He's so focused on not getting
Mm,
finished, and in that process, he leaves himself open. I see him getting finished. Like
I
Lambert is going
respectfully
to take him
disagree.
down. He's going to take him down. It's going to be a ground and pound finish. It's not going to be. It's not going to be a submission. It's going to hurt Robert Whittaker in this fight. It's going to hurt Robert Whittaker.
I don't. I think Robert is very smart in the grappling exchanges. I don't think he would find himself in positions where he would get hurt.
Let's not forget
Uh,
that Dricos had his way with Robert Whittaker on when they went to the ground.
not no wait. And Robert Wicker got up every time Dracos put him down.
No, when during the end of round one, when he took him down,
Mm.
he was unable to get up, and
All
he
right.
hit so many shots.
okay, I mean, let's before we talk about the main event, right? Just let's just pick a few fights from the undercard here and just have a look. So just one after the other. I'm gonna start with King Dems. Yeah, what fight interests you about the prelims? What fight interests you, and how do you see the fight?
In the prelims, whoa. Maybe
Don't forget
some
there's a Nigerian
bias.
as well on there as well.
I
Mm,
was saying there's a bias, and you knew where I was heading towards, right?
And then
yeah, yeah.
So the Nigerian bias is leading me towards Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Chris Barnett. It's more like the mountain meets the valley. It's it's a high differential fight. So I want to see how this is going to pan out, right? And of course, introduction to heavy weight division. So I really am curious to see how it pans out. My money's on Kennedy. Kennedy is the heavy favorite. So I hope he gets the job done. And of course, without the Nigerian bias, the next most interesting fight to me on the prelims is Jeff Neal versus Rafael dos Anjos. This is my own if you don't know now you know fight, right? That's the fight to look out for because I think it's going to be bonkers. RDA is, as aggressive as they come, even though he's, in his old age, right? And of course, Jeff Neal is 34 years old, right? So it's a battle of the OGs, and Jeff Neal has been a perennial gatekeeper in that welterweight division. I think that fight has a potential to be fight of the night. So I think
Yeah, yeah.
it's gonna be a barn burner.
Well, so essentially you did two then instead of one.
Uh,
Um, I'll I'll come to you, Courageous Empire. Which fight in this undercard interests you?
apart from the Kennedy fight, I think the other fight that also like attract me is this the fight between Matthias Rebecki and Mitubek Orobai. I think
I think I know that guy.
Matthias Rebecki, his
Rebecca.
last fight was Bruno Ferreira, and he got dominated after winning round one. He got dominated. He got finished, and he was coming up with so many hype. People were saying he's going to like those are future challengers for Islam, something like that. But he
Mm,
got finished by a
mm,
military veteran. So, and he's facing and the guy he's facing now. This guy is not like this Oruba guy. Is not slowing down.
Mobile.
Yeah,
Mm.
his last fight was I think it was
1998.
against
A young guy.
Elvis
Mm.
Brenner. That was his last fight. Yeah, he won. I think he
Yeah.
won it by decision, 29-27.
And he's
But I'm
only
picking.
26 as well.
Uh,
Mm.
I think Mituba Koroba is going to take this win. Like it's going to be both of them. They are high level
That's that's
grapplers. They are high
that's a
level
good shout,
grapplers. But I think
That's a good shout,
Mitubek.
that you're making here, and this will be a nice place to make some dough. And King James, I
Yeah,
know you're the betting guy for us here. I'd like you to help us find out what the odds say for that one, for that fight, Matthias Rebecca versus Miktibek Orobai. I'd like to know what the odds say. Let's know if we can cash in on something
Orobai
here.
is 1.3. 1.3. My money is on Orobai. Orobai, the odd is 1.3.
Interesting, interesting. Nice. So yeah, we're going to come to you, Jibrin, what fights on this undercard interests you, and
Well,
why?
as you know, apart from me being Nigerian, I also like watching big sweaty men hit each other. And on this
Yeah,
card, there's
yeah.
only one heavyweight fight, and the heavyweight fight is the one with the Nigerian inside. And he's not fighting
Yeah.
Kennedy Nzechukwu is fighting a fan favorite in Chris Barnett, right? So the next heaviest fight there is the fight between Ibo Aslan versus Rafael Cuquera. So now that the reason why that interests me is Kikera from Brazil is making his UFC debut, and that guy he's
Hmm.
dropping down to light heavyweight from heavyweight in Brazil, where he has been knocking people out. All his victories are
Raphael.
knockout.
That's the guy my money is
So
on.
so
Okay.
he's
Okay.
fighting
Okay.
he's fighting Ibo Aslan. Ibo Aslan too is no slouch. His first UFC fight he won by an overhand right. So that fight
Hmm.
is the second heaviest fight in the prelims after my boy Kennedy Nzechukwu. So I am going with that one. That is the one I'll be looking forward to. I don't care about any Mitebek or Oroblai and Rebeski. Those guys are too light for me. Sorry
Right.
to say. How does that meme go? That Nigerian girl where they say I am sorry to say that one where they
Sorry
do
for the
interview
laugh.
for her. Sorry for the laugh. Yeah, so
Right.
that's it.
So now guys, we are, we are back to where we started. In terms of these main events, you know, we've talked about what
Remind me
cylinders.
again. Remind me again. When did they cancel that Serogan fight?
Okay.
Um, Probably a few weeks ago.
Sugan
Why
versus
did they
Um,
Volkov.
cancel it? Did they move it
They moved
or what?
it to UFC 310.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So,
310. That's the Bilal Mohammed one.
Yeah.
yeah, I think
Okay.
so. Yeah.
But
Mm,
it would have been better for them to fight now so they can go cage side when this guy is fighting John Jones and
John
Miocic. They
Jones.
can go cage side and add more drama because Thomas Pino will be there, obviously. Anyways, Naden Sabi.
I mean, shout out to everyone watching us from online live. Tell us what you think. Now we're about to talk about the main event of the evening on Saturday night. What do you think about this, or who's going to win this fight? We want to know. Tell us in the comment section below. Right. So, I mean, obviously, we've talked about the star power of this young man, Ilia Topuria. We talked about how Paddy the Buddy was calling him the hand sanitizer boy. I won't forget that altercation they had sometime, and Paddy was like, now I'm going to change your name to hand sanitizer boy. I mean, right now, like we said, the difference is so clear, and I'm not even sure. Right now, at the moment, it feels like putting somebody like Paddy against this dude is basically like signing Paddy's death warrant. You know, it doesn't look like a fight that is um you know
It doesn't seem
that is
like a fair
winnable for
fight.
him. That it doesn't seem like a fair fight. Yeah. So yeah. So now So Max has been champion before, obviously, and he has fought. So to put this in context, right? The guy that beat Max on on 3 occasions, was knocked out by this dude in the second
So,
round of the fight.
MMA
So
maths makes no
that
sense.
yeah.
yeah,
So
MMA math
I know,
doesn't it doesn't work, bro.
true, very true, very true. But I just wanted to paint some context for people out there who want to understand likely where this one is gonna go. I know who I think will win this fight, but I want us now to take round to discuss this again. Look at this again. Look at it very well critically, and tell me. I'm going to start with you, Courageous Empire. How exactly? How exactly does this fight end? And who is going to come out of this one looking like the star?
Okay. Like I said before, I think Ilya is going to initiate a lot of grappling, like a lot of grappling in this fight. I don't think he's going to strike long. And another thing, I think Max is going to kick a lot. He's going to throw kicks, like head kicks, spinning kicks. He's going to
Like,
kick a lot
mm,
in this fight. Because we have noticed if you check Ilya's past fight, even before the UFC, he doesn't do well with kicks. It's like head kicks, like
mm.
he don't do well with them at all. He has been caught
What
with
do you mean by
similar
head
kick, like
kicks? Do they do head kicks in UFC? What do you mean by head kicks?
Like kicks to the head.
kicks to the head now.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. Okay, okay. All right. I thought you were saying like head. Right. Sorry, my bad. So you think
Uh,
Ilya Max will do head kicks in this one?
yeah, I think he's going to throw a lot of kicks in this fight. Like
Yeah.
Ilya does not do
Yeah.
well with kicks because of that is a boxing stance. It doesn't let him block
Uh,
kicks. Yeah, like he can't slip kicks like punches now.
mm,
So I think Mas is going
mm.
to like take his time. Take his time. I think Ilya is going to win the first two rounds, like I said before. The Mas is going to take 3, 4, and 5. Is it going to be a decision like 49
For Max.
48 decision
Wow.
for Mas? Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's. I mean, the dude is saying he's going to knock Max out in the first round. I don't know how that works. I mean, King Dems. Let's bring in the betting situation in this one.
Uh-huh.
You know, where is the best value in terms of the bets? Well, should it be like a round thing, or where's the best value? Where can we put money in these fights to be able to make money without necessarily calling who wins?
Without
Right?
necessarily calling who wins. So I think going for over 1.5 or over 2.5 rounds is where the value would possibly lie, because I think we all know Max, right? Max wears you down, right? Max doesn't have that, first round, second round, KO. He'll probably drag you into the third round before he finishes you off. We saw that in the Jose Aldo fight, twice,
Yeah.
uh, finishing Jose Aldo in the third round, right? So, and of course, we know Ilya is highly skilled, right? But Max is a different animal from the beasts that Ilya has been presented, in the past, and there is a reason why Ilya was not fed to Max Holloway in his build up, to title
Build up.
contention, right? We saw what happened to the likes of,
A good point. That's a good point.
huh? Yeah, we did see what
That's
happened
a,
to Brian TCT Ortega, to this other Mexican guy,
Arnold
like when
Allen.
they, yeah, Arnold Allen, Calvin Keita, um, El Pantera, right? We saw what happened to all of them, right? And of course, at some point, Volk was like, "Oh, Max, stop beating my contenders," right? So there is a reason why, Ilya was not fed to the bull, right? And he's going to be reminded come Saturday. So I think Max is going to wear him down. Probably, I don't really see a finish, happening, but if Max finishes him, right, I think that would be probably in the fourth or fifth round, because I think that Topuria is going to expend a lot of his energy in the first two rounds, because he strongly believes, he has this delusional belief that he can crack Max and he can be the one to be the first to knock Max out. But he's going to expend a lot of energy and discover that he was very, very wrong. We lost your audio.
Yeah, sorry, I muted myself while you were talking. So if I come to Jibrin, I'm going to take a comment. There's a comment here by someone. Did I say Jibrin or Jibril? Jibril, yeah. I mean,
No matter,
um.
anyone they
So
work.
in so Lawrence, that was right source here, and he says Ilya either gets TKO, volume punches, ground pounding, or referee stoppage. Ilya face all busted up. So basically, he's saying that Ilya either wins through volume punches or ground and pound, or he loses via referee stoppage because his face is busted up by Mark. So basically, he's trying to Lawrence is balancing things up here for us. So, Jibril, balancing for us here in terms of your innermost fighting mind. Predict for us how this fight will end. Because and why I'm saying it is so that on Sunday when we're doing review, we will know who is right. Among the three of us.
I'm not
How will
really
this
I'm not
fight
really
end?
good with these prediction things. I think I'm more accurate when the fight starts. I think if I was a betting person, I'll be doing the like using the live odds, isn't it? When the fight is going. I feel like that's when I do my best business. You see, like for example, when Kamaru Usman lost to what is his name?
Yeah,
Chimaev or Leon?
Leon. I
yeah.
called it out in the chat. When Easy lost to Pereira that time that he got finished in the no, he lost to Dracos. I called it out on the chat before it happened. I have evidence to back it. Even when Easy lost to Pereira that fourth round, I mean a fifth round, that time that Pereira TKO'd him, I called it out on the chat. But with regards to this one, the vision that I'm having about Ilia versus Max. Unfortunately, I am seeing a unanimous decision. I swear I'm seeing 5 rounds. I'm seeing 5 rounds, and I'm seeing Topuria taking that 5 rounds. And I think I'm going to lean towards what Courageous is talking about. That wrestling that will be the decider. I feel like Ilya will decide to fight like a champion. But what I want to happen, you know how champions fight. Champions would protect their title if they see that is the safest way to win the fight. But
Yeah.
what I prefer, I love Max, but as someone that is looking up for the UFC and I want them to do better, I feel Ilya will be a better champion for them than Max. So I want Ilya to win by knocking out Max. But I love Max. But I think my prediction is Ilya wins it by the unanimous decision, which is something that nobody wants to see. But I think that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, very good. Thanks for your take. And obviously, just to read out the record of these two guys. So Ilya comes with a perfect record 15-0-0, and then Max comes with a record of 26-7-0. So he's lost 7 fights in his career. And the average fight time as well for Ilia Topuria is very impressive. At just over 10 minutes, 10 minutes and 2 seconds. That's the average time he's actually spent in a fight. Against Mark, 16 minutes, 2 seconds. And then in terms of the height here, so I want to read out every factor here so that the people that are listening to us, watching us, would know in terms of the height here. So the advantage goes to Max with advantage of 4 inches. So Ilya stands at 5 feet 7, and Max stands at 5 feet 11. And weight is obviously the same. Reach, funny enough, is the same, 69 inches. They both fight, with the orthodox stance. And in terms of strikes landed, so obviously this is somewhere we know that Max is really good. So Max has landed, and the average 7.17 punches, strikes per minute. Uh, Against Ilias for almost five per minute, and the accuracy 46 to Ilya, 48 to Max percent. Strike absorbed per minute. So Max has absorbed more strikes per minute. He has at five per minute
Definitely.
against Ilya's 3 per minute. So in terms of defense, strike defense, Ilya is better. He defends more strikes. So he has defended 65% of strikes against him per minute. That is very impressive. Very, very impressive. And the Max 59%. Then takedowns. So Ilya has 1.92 per every 15 minutes. Not enough time on the ground, while Max is 0. So Max never attempts takedowns. That's basically what it means here. So for someone like Courageous Empire who is saying that a route to victory for Ilia Topuria in this fight is going to be through some grappling, some jiu-jitsu, some ground game, So that lays credence to that there. And takedown accuracy 56%, 53%. Takedown defense, very good for Ilia Topuria. 92% takedown defense. While for Max, also very good at 84%. Submission, Ilia has one submission per 15 minutes, while our friend Max Holloway has zero submissions per 15 minutes. Yeah, and obviously, if you haven't attempted any takedowns, I don't see how you're going to get a submission. So I think that all proves that. And in their last five fights, Ilia's last five fights, he's won four and lost one. And that one was against Alexander Volkanovski. He has beaten Yair Rodriguez, Allen, Jong, and Gage in the BMF. And then Ilia Tupuria has won all Herbert, Mitchell, Emmett, and Volkanovski. I mean, guys, this fight is you know, this is a banger. This is going to be a banger. I think we all agree to that. I think we all agree that these two guys will come to bang. These two guys will come for the fight. So, where to watch this? If you're in the UK, obviously you're watching on TNT Sport, and if you're in the US, you're watching on ESPN Plus. And obviously, if you're in Africa, you're watching on Super Sport. For I know a lot of our audience,
TSTV.
obviously, from Africa, Nigeria, and the rest. Yeah. So there's a bonus discussion point that I have just before we wrap up. Just bonus discussion. So obviously Dana White was having a conversation today after the first half, and he made some comments about Ngannou and the PFL. And obviously we're not going to
Rent
let that
free,
one go.
rent free,
Without talking
Whoa!
about
rent free.
actually. So thank you very much. So King Dems, let me go to you then. So is Ngannou and PFL living rent free on Dana White's head? What is the situation here? Tell us.
So I think the situation is a journalist always trying to put Ngannou and the PFL in the face of Dana White, right? And Dana White is always, he's what's the word now? He's a petty man, right? And his slogan is, "If you go low, I will go lower." You understand? So
Interesting. Yeah.
basically, that is what Dana White is doing. If you don't tell Dana White about PFL and Francis Ngannou, he's not going to say anything about them. In fairness to Dana White, you understand. But people keep putting PFL and Francis Ngannou in his face, and what do you expect him to do, right? Like, he tried to make Ngannou stay with the UFC, but he couldn't, achieve that. So he would find any avenue, any way, shape, or form to try to talk down and rubbish any accomplishment that the PFL and Francis Ngannou might have. I think that's just my take on the whole
Mm,
issue. So he would always find any avenue to try to talk them down, and that's what's happening. It's crazy how he brought out stats, to demean the
mm,
numbers that these guys are doing, and even saying they should take the UFC out of their mouths, right? That they can't even compete with Power Slap,
what's up?
not to
Yeah.
talk of the UFC. That was a below the belt. That was a groin strike. That was a
Yeah.
big groin strike. It's crazy, but it is what it is. So that's just my take on the whole
Yeah.
issue.
It is what it is, my brother. Courageous
Mhm.
Empire is. Do you think? Okay, let me ask a different question to you. Do you think Dana White will be able to reject Turkey Al Sheikh if Turkey Al Sheikh picks up the phone tomorrow and calls him and says, "Hi, Dana, Riyadh season in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, Ngannou versus Jones." Will Dana White be able to say, "Turkey, I'm sorry, but this is not going to happen"?
Yes, that man. I don't think he's going to agree. He's a businessman. He doesn't want to give any like little light to PFL. He's not going to agree because he's putting his champion, his heavyweight, his pound for pound number one, according to him, at risk against the greatest heavyweight of all time. And if he lose,
Yo,
he can't afford to. He can't
courageous,
afford to.
courageous. Sorry to cut your flow. Sorry to cut your flow. I just don't want to disappear just like that. But guys,
Okay.
I have to bounce. I hate that I am going to be missing the rest of this conversation. And to be honest, this is the part I care about, the Dana White and Francis Ngannou conversation. This is the one
quickly,
that I like the most.
quickly chipping your points. Quickly chipping your point before you bounce, before you run.
Yeah, yeah, go on.
Eh,
Just 2 seconds.
Dana is a petty man and he lies very easily. I think he has God complex. He 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 has that thing about me, Vince McMahon, going on where if you are with him, if you kiss his ass properly, he's going to give you the whole world.
You
He
reward
also
you.
did say he mentioned that again. Oh, Francis Ngannou left because of the money. In the same breath, he said Francis Ngannou left because he doesn't want to fight John Jones because he knows if he loses to John Jones, he wouldn't make as much money when he leaves. Does that make sense? He says he
No,
knows if he fights John Jones, he will not
Doesn't
make
make
as
sense.
much money when he leaves, but we offered him more money to fight with us. So he would have made more money with us, but he left. How does that make sense? In the same breath, you are saying this person, if he stays, we gave him a better deal, he will get more money than leaving, right? But then you say in the same breath, you are saying, oh, and if he loses to John Jones, he's not going to make as much money
It doesn't have any
that
more
he
value.
so it just sounds like someone being a promoter as well. He tried to, in the same breath, tried to rubbish Francis Ngannou and then try to big up John Jones. But everybody knows the true champion in the UFC heavyweight division is the champion that left with the title, and that is Francis Ngannou. And another thing is Francis Ngannou has told you time upon time upon time. He has had many interviews. He has told you time upon time that he doesn't care about the money. This is someone that stayed. Have I spoken? I feel like deja vu. I think I've spoken about this earlier in the show.
Yeah, you
So
talking about
so
that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, this is someone that fought for little money and left. He didn't extend his contract. This is someone that told you that he wants to go for what his dream is, and that is boxing, and he doesn't like the way he was treated. He felt disrespected. This is a very stubborn man that no matter what, he will go for his dreams, and that was boxing. And what did he do? He went and he boxed two of the greatest boxers of all time in our generation, in this current era, in the two heavyweights from England, Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Arguably won one, but got knocked out in the second one. So I would say, Dana, with regards to you and Francis Ngannou, you are the one that fumbled the bag, not Francis. So with that note, guys,
That's
I'll
a good
talk to
way to
you
wrap it up.
later. Yella, I've got to go. Bye.
Yeah, no problem. All right, have a good night, bro. Yeah,
Bye,
courageous
bro.
Empire. Sorry about cutting you off there.
no
Just
problem.
finish off what you were saying, then we'll wrap
Whoa.
up soon anyway.
No, I don't think Dana will agree to that deal because that man he doesn't see anything good from any other promotion. Like especially the ones competing with him, like the PFL or Bellator. He is
Same
not
thing I
going to
said.
agree, no matter the amount. No
I
matter
don't
he has
think
that
so.
pride in him. He has that pride in him. He is the same fighter that said after Francis knocked out Stipe, he said John Joe should start moving down to middleweight. He is the same fighter saying that Francis ducked Jones. How is that possible? You can't eat your cake and have it. It's not going to be possible.
Wait, did he
So
make that statement? Did he say John Jones should move back to?
yes, he said it
I think
after
he
Francis
said that. I
knocked
think
out
I remember.
Stipe. He said it
Yeah,
during the press
I
conference.
think I remember
Then
that statement. Yeah.
After Francis knocked out Stipe, Jones was tweeting. He said, "Show me the money." When
Yeah.
Jones replied, Dana replied just saying, "You better start moving down to middleweight because you don't want the smoke.
You know
Doesn't
what
want
is
the smoke."
smoke? Yeah, and he Jones actually was having a bit of a
I
rivalry with
remember.
Yes,
Adesanya
now
at the time.
we all know.
Yeah,
We all know.
him
Yeah,
and
We all
true,
Adesanya were
true,
having a
true.
back
Yeah,
and
yeah,
forth.
we all know Jones doesn't want
yeah.
to fight Francis. We all know. We all know. So Dana
No,
can continue
it's
defending
obvious. I
Jones
think
and
it's
continue
obvious.
defending him.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all.
Mm. So then, is it true? This statement, you think is quite obvious. Is it true that Jones does not want to fight Francis? And why do you think he doesn't want to fight him?
So, bro, I'll first start with this. Do you want to fight Francis? Like, given the everything that John Jones has accomplished in this sport, right? Francis is a very, very high risk fight. Francis is a born heavyweight. He's a natural heavyweight. John Jones is a light heavyweight,
He
right?
has pillows
That
and
moved,
pillow hands.
yeah, that moved up to, heavyweight. However, I feel like being a prize fighter, if John Jones is offered the right, figure, I think he will be motivated
He'll
for
do
that
it.
challenge. Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's this, he's egomaniac as well, right? So he's somebody who believes he can achieve anything. Look at his tattoo. I think that's Philippians 4:19. I can do all things through Christ and strengthens me. So like he's that guy who really, really believes a lot in himself. So I just feel like for the right amount of money, he will take that challenge. But I've
No,
made peace, in my heart that that fight will never happen. I've had
no,
to
no.
make peace with it. But we can all say chat all day, but I don't think that fight will ever happen.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a good place to wrap things up tonight. I mean, shout out to everyone that's been with us tonight. Thanks for coming to us. Yeah, do help us and do stuff to the video, like the video, share it at least between tomorrow and next, so that people can see the video and understand the betting lines. Let's know what we're going on Saturday night. King James, what's the rest of your week gonna be like?
Whoa, just basically indoors and waiting for that fight to happen. It has to. And of course, it's early, what's it called? Would I call it early kickoff? Early start
Yeah.
time?
Mm,
Yeah, so it starts at
yeah,
3
yeah,
p.m.
because it's not very
Yeah,
good.
yeah, 3
The
p.m.
main
Ooh,
the
that
main
is
Nigerian
card
nice.
starts
I
at
Eastern
love
7
time.
that.
p.m.
So it's very, very important.
The main
That
card
is
starts at
ideal.
7 p.m.
That
So
is so ideal.
the African and
Mm,
European fans are the biggest winners on this one.
Yeah.
very good. So, Courageous, what's the rest of the week gonna be like before we go?
I can't wait for Max to become champion again. That's it.
Very good.
Two more sleeps.
With that,
Two more sleeps.
thank you very much. Let's have two more sleep, guys. See you guys very soon. We're out. All right. Um, it's weird that you asked me that question because I just have my space share. So, first of all, let's start with followers. Power Slap has 19.2 million followers. PFL has 10. Video views. PFL Fight Week did 326 million. Power Slap 8 did 690 million. Okay. PFL Fight Week Instagram views, 76 million. Power Slap 9, the week of. This is, so if you look at PFL, the fight week and the aftermath, these guys had 76. Just the week of, they had 68 million on Power Slap. Okay. And we haven't even had a fight yet.